Australia, a land of extremes. Home to natural-born killers found nowhere else on Earth. Where prehistoric predators dominate floodplains. While scorched desert sands play host to an evolutionary arms race. And where devils haunt the night. Australia truly is a realm of monsters. The lowest and flattest continent on Earth, Australia is not without its vantage points. Lurking within these rocky highlands is a multitude of stone-cold killers. Moving with intent across the darkened forest floor of Australia's Great Dividing Range. This is the world's deadliest spider. Endemic to a small area immediately surrounding Australia's most populated city, the Sydney funnel-web spider has a fearsome reputation. In a country replete with dangerous monsters, it incites more than its fair share of fear, with good reason. A unique peptide known as atrocotoxin, found within its venom, is particularly lethal to humans. Before the development of antivenin, the bite of this terrifying spider was more often than not fatal. Smaller creatures don't stand a chance. Although utilized in defense, funnel web venom is primarily used to kill prey species, such as insects, frogs, and lizards. Preferring cool and moist microclimates, the spiral-shaped web of this male is both refuge and lair. An ideal place to plot a deadly surprise attack. Meticulously maintained, an elaborate array of tripwires act as an early warning system. They alert the spider to the presence of would-be victims. This wandering cricket is oblivious to the imminent threat and pays the ultimate price. Once envenomed by the spider's lengthy venom-tipped fangs, the cricket is quickly immobilized. Retreating back into his sticky funnel, the spider will consume his meal in solitude. As night deepens, the funnel web ventures from his lair. He's on the hunt again. Not for prey this time, rather for a mate. For all their impressive bravado, mating season is a perilous time for male Sydney funnel-web spiders, so he best keep his wits about him. Females are often extremely aggressive towards potential suitors. Yet despite having infinitely more powerful venom, males are reluctant to use it against their mate during this strangely combative ritual. By raising her forelimbs against any other foe, a striking pose, she signals that she is in fact ready to receive this male's packet of sperm. But hitting a home run doesn't guarantee he'll be safe. Mating rituals like this will often end with the female killing and consuming her sexual partner. An act that ensures her own well-being and that of her future offspring. The odds are against him escaping. but clearly this is his lucky day. She allows him to beat a hasty retreat to the sanctuary of his underground lair. Slithering along a rocky creek bed not far from the funnel web's home is one of Australia's most notorious venomous snakes. Rarely straying far from the water's edge to which he is so well adapted, this male red-bellied blacksnake is on the prowl. A versatile hunter, he can track prey over land and water, and will even swim in pursuit of tadpoles and fish. Given the chance, he is not beyond a spot of red-bellied cannibalism. But today, his keen eyesight and hearing have detected a less formidable target, albeit one on the move. Spooked, the faster-moving frog darts for cover. But it leaves behind a chemical trail which is quickly detected by the snake's probing tongue. Outpaced but not outmaneuvered, the red-belly's perseverance is rewarded. For the nimble frog, escape is no longer an option. Using his hollow fangs to deliver a concoction of deadly toxins and coagulants, the snake swiftly overwhelms its prey. Although clearly immobilized, there's little point in waiting for the frog to die. It's devoured while still alive. With a full belly and a surge of springtime endorphins coursing through his system, the red-bellied blacksnake leaves the confines of the watercourse in search of a mate. But unlike the funnel-web spider, it's not the females of his species that he needs to be wary of. Notoriously competitive, male red-bellies are particularly aggressive towards each other during breeding season. Slithering around boulders and fallen logs, he's apparently not the only one looking for love. Leaving a trail of pheromones, a nearby female has attracted several suitors that must compete for mating rights. By raising his head and flattening his neck, this red-bellied blacksnake can easily intimidate a smaller rival. But when a larger male attempts to assert dominance, more drastic measures must be taken. This aggressive combat is more than mere showmanship, and the stakes are high. Although immune to the venom of their own species, bites like this inflict deep puncture wounds and act as a powerful deterrent. By overcoming the last of his competitors, he momentarily secures uninterrupted access to the female and a chance to pass on his genetic legacy. While competition for breeding rights is often hard-fought, for one devilish species, ritualized aggression is simply part of daily life. Cut off from the Australian mainland for over 10,000 years, the remote state of Tasmania is one of the world's most mountainous islands. And skulking deep within its rugged primordial wilderness are Tasmania's mysterious flesh eaters. For this island is bedeviled by strange nocturnal monsters. The island's rugged primordial wilderness really comes to life just on dusk, as the birds return to roost and nocturnal herbivores begin to emerge. They are being watched. A crepuscular hunter is already on the prowl. For all its decidedly benign looks, the tiger quoll is one of the fiercest predators in the country. Measuring nearly 1 meter from head to tail, it's the world's second largest marsupial carnivore. While this large male will occasionally hunt wallabies and wombats on the ground, wildlife in the treetops is no safer. Notorious for his lethal aerial assault, even the biggest of possums must be wary of this arboreal predator's carnivorous appetite. Ever vigilant, his keen nose has caught a scent. Stalking silently through the canopy, he inches closer to his chosen target, pausing occasionally to avoid detection. Once within striking distance, he launches his deadly attack. His powerful jaws and large canine teeth quickly dispatch this eastern rosella. It's a tasty morsel, but it will not completely satisfy his hunger. Driven by a voracious appetite, he descends to the ground. His nose has detected another, more pungent scent: carrion. Present on this continent for nearly 16 million years, the tiger quoll's adaptable diet has seen it through times of feast and famine. Easily tearing away the outer fur, he focuses on the soft tissue of the wallaby's carcass. Scavenging carrion ensures he is never left wanting. But there is another, larger and fiercer marsupial scavenger in these parts, one that is not fond of competition. A close relative of the quoll, the Tasmanian Devil is the largest and most ferocious marsupial carnivore alive today, and more than a match for a quoll. To avoid becoming a meal himself, the quoll retreats into the night. In an attempt to conceal his newfound prize, this juvenile male devil drags the carcass into nearby bushes. There is little time to waste, and little doubt other devils will want a share of his spoils. Carried on the wind, the scent of dead flesh can travel great distances, as can the devils themselves. They can cover 16 kilometers in a single night. Expecting company, the juvenile devil's approach to the carcass is less restrained than that of the quoll. Relative to their size, devils have the strongest bite force of any living mammal. While sharp canine teeth tear flesh, powerful jaws and blunt molars combine to crush even the strongest of bones. Nothing will be left to waste. Left alone, this ravenous monster could consume up to 40% of his own body weight in half an hour. But dinner for one is a rare date indeed in the menacing underworld of the Tasmanian Devil. The scent of dead flesh draws a crowd. They are one of the few solitary carnivores known to eat communally, though reluctantly. The young male will now have to compete for his share of the meal. As far as communal gatherings go, devil dinner time is decidedly lacking in social graces. But it's not without its rules. To avoid accidentally biting one another, long facial whiskers govern spatial awareness. But when personal barriers are breached, things can get nasty. Learned from a young age, this ritualistic aggression is common during feeding. Body posture, confronting vocalizations, and savage bites are used to assert dominance. Intimidated by a larger male, the juvenile is driven off his carcass. But he won't go hungry. Both scavenger and active hunter, he sets off in search of a victim. Capable of killing prey many times his own size. Very few animals in these forests are safe from this ferocious marsupial carnivore. The scent of dead flesh is heavy in the air. But the night's carnage has only just begun. As day breaks over South Australia's rugged Flinders Ranges, soaring high above is one of the continent's most spectacular predators. With a wingspan approaching 2.5 meters, the Wedge-Tailed Eagle is Australia's largest bird of prey. Standing at more than 1 meter tall, this female cuts an imposing figure. While her hooked beak is designed to aid feeding, her talons are tailor-made for killing. They are powerful and razor-sharp. Fast and agile, these monster raptors are capable of taking down heavy-set prey. Even the largest kangaroos need to be wary of a deadly aerial assault. Of course, there are always softer targets. And a litter of unattended dingo pups looks like easy pickings. A quick meal this female wedgetail finds hard to ignore. Mother dingo senses the danger. Racing back to the den, she sounds the alarm. A narrow escape. When they're not actively hunting, these magnificent raptors spend much of the day gliding on lofty thermal currents. But during breeding season, family comes first. Wedge-Tailed Eagles mate for life. This monogamous pair has produced a small clutch of 2 hatchlings. Only a few days old, they are more than a little demanding, requiring almost constant attention. Mom and Dad share the duties, which include the provision of food. Flying in tandem, their keen eyesight enables them to spot prey from up to 3 kilometers away. The female eagle detects movement in the undergrowth. An unfortunately timed exit from its burrow has landed a European rabbit in her crosshairs. This introduced species makes up a large part of a wedge-tail's diet, so she's well versed in second-guessing its movements and ready to respond. Breaking from cover, the rabbit makes a run for it. If it can make it to one of the many warren entrances, it will evade her deadly talons. But as quick and nimble as it is, the rabbit is no match for this remarkable aerial predator. Her razor-sharp beak makes short work of the carcass. This meal will be enough to feed her entire family, but only if she can protect it from hungry interlopers. Attracted by the commotion, a curious dingo pup investigates. Oblivious to the risks of its actions, the pup attempts to steal a morsel. Its impudence is quickly and unceremoniously corrected. Having eaten her fill, she returns to the nest and her 2 hungry chicks. But upon return, she's met with a grim discovery. One of her young is dead. To avoid competition, the slightly larger chick has killed its smaller sibling. An act that is not uncommon in the world of wedge-tailed eagles. A perennial pragmatist, the mother leaves nothing to waste. Immediately feeding her dead chick to her now only child. In a natural order dominated by well-adapted killers, it's often only the strongest that survive. While many creatures in Australia are well armed, few are as well armored as the short-beaked echidna. What better way to defend oneself than with a suit of menacing spines? It's obviously a strategy that has played out well for the species. They're one of the oldest surviving mammals on Earth. They can live well into their 50s and thrive literally anywhere in Australia. The tropical north, the temperate south, even here, in the otherworldly and desolate landscape of the Bungle Bungle mountain ranges of Western Australia. While defensive spines are literally her strong suit, she's not without predatory weapons. Impressive claws, a probing snout, and a tongue that defies imagination. Perfect tools for breaking into fallen logs in search of a meal. The short-beaked echidna's diet is predominantly made up of ants and termites, but finding such tiny prey is not without its challenges. Following scent trails, she's using more than a keen sense of smell. Electrosensors detect minute electronic impulses emitted by her invertebrate prey. Of course, as tiny as they are, when it comes to building their dwellings, termites are less than subtle. These termite mounds provide a smorgasbord. Her devilishly long tongue extends about 18 centimeters beyond her snout. It is highly mobile, and the tip can even bend into a U-shape, allowing the echidna to reach into every nook and cranny inside the termite's home. Sticky saliva traps multiple victims at a time. Termites retreating deeper into the mound are no safer. Her sharp claws make short work of the tough outer crust, which is essentially composed of soil, termite saliva, and dung. Enjoying the feast, the echidna suddenly realizes she is not the only one on the hunt. Dingoes are Australia's wolves, the largest and fiercest of the continent's land carnivores. And this pair have honed in on one of the echidna's scents. It's a perilous situation, but one she is not unfamiliar with. She digs in to protect her vulnerable underside. Erecting a quiver of needle-sharp spines, she forms an impregnable fortification. Holding tight, she prepares for the onslaught. Unable to breach her armor, the dingoes try a different tactic. If they manage to expose her soft underbelly, she will stand little chance of survival. But she endures. Even the most determined and dogged predator knows there's a tipping point where pain will outweigh any gain. While the echidna's defensive strategy is second to none, there is another uniquely Australian species that utilizes a predatory strategy so seductive in nature that some find it simply irresistible. As the springtime sun thaws Australia's alpine region, cold-blooded killers awaken from their winter slumber with an undeniable desire for flesh. A shuttling heliotherm, this cold-blooded skink recharges in the morning sun, occasionally moving off into the undergrowth to break his long winter fast, before returning to his sunlit rock. Ever on the lookout for the next potential meal, movement in the leaf litter below catches its eye. But this time, it's no grub. It's a lure. The skink is not the only reptile to have awoken from its winter slumber with a murderous appetite. Having covered itself in leaf litter, the common death adder has cleverly concealed itself in the undergrowth. Unlike most Australian snakes, he's not an active hunter, rather a cunning ambush predator. Lying motionless, he tantalizes unsuspecting prey with his wriggling grub-like tail, strategically positioned close to his well-camouflaged head. By any other name, this maneuver is a death trap. But for it to pay off, the snake needs to be patient. Like a coiled spring, he waits until the skink inches into the kill zone. With long, weaponized fangs, the Death Adder's strike is the fastest of any Australian snake species. The bite is so toxic that without antivenom, it could claim the life of a human within 6 hours. For the skink, the end comes much sooner. The stealthy Death Adder moves on to find a new place to play his cunning game of hide and seek. With such menacing creatures on the loose, having an effective means of escape can mean the difference between life and death. Relatively defenseless, soft-bodied insects, crickets generally use their forward limbs to get around while grazing, while powerful hind limbs and concealed wings are deployed when danger threatens. Normally, such a surprise attack from a hungry trapdoor spider would be lethal, but on this occasion, his reflexes are outclassed. When it comes to legwork, there are few on the forest floor that can best this mini monster. Australia's giant centipede uses its multiple legs as offensive rather than defensive weapons. These aggressive carnivores can measure up to 25 centimeters in length and pack a powerful punch. This giant centipede is capable of killing and devouring a small mouse or frog, so insects rarely stand a chance. She actively seeks out her victims, not by sight, but by touch, and a remarkable ability to detect chemical signals emitted by potential prey. Betrayed by its scent, a cricket draws her attention. Light of foot, she silently closes the gap on her mark. Hunting such nimble prey requires stealth and precision. And does not always result in success. But this predator is persistent. Her aim is to get close enough to neutralize her victim's exit strategy. This time, the sheer number of its opponent's limbs overwhelms the cricket's powerful legs, allowing the centipede to administer a lethal dose of venom through specialized legs known as poison claws. Packed with a witch's brew of toxins and potentially lethal to humans, the venom of the giant centipede is potent enough to rapidly paralyze prey species. Once immobilized, she uses powerful mandibles to dismember and devour her prey. Looming large in its microcosmic world, the giant centipede is not without its own natural predators. After all, size is relative. And even the smallest of raptors threatens death from above. Perched above nearby grasslands, an Australian kestrel is on the lookout for a meal. Her keen eyes survey the surrounding area for small mammals and reptiles, her preferred prey. Measuring just 30 centimeters from head to tail, Australian kestrels are one of the continent's smallest birds of prey. Although slight of stature, she doesn't shy away from more formidable targets. Venomous invertebrates like spiders and centipedes often fall victim to the carnivorous appetite of this capable winged predator. Hovering a short distance above the ground, she uses rapid wing beats to remain aloft, while her fan-shaped tail acts as a rudder to control drift. This strategy allows her head and body to remain quite still in flight, offering a stable platform from which to spot a potential victim. And in this endeavor, she is particularly well equipped. Australian kestrels have specially adapted eyes that enable them to see light in the ultraviolet end of the spectrum. Invisible to the human eye, she is able to see scent and urine trails left by prey species. A competitive edge that allows her to predict a target's movements. And these refined tracking skills have led her to a potential meal below. She descends for a closer look. Traversing the moist undergrowth is one of Australia's rarest and most striking endemic species. Critically endangered, the brightly colored southern corroboree frog is easily spotted from above. And the kestrel has it locked in her sights. But camouflage is not this remarkable amphibian's primary defensive strategy. Far from it. Like a human fingerprint, the vivid yellow and black markings are unique to individual frogs and offer a clear warning to potential predators. Contained within its impressive skin is a cocktail of lethal alkaloid-based poisons. Unlike most poisonous frog species of the world, which rely on a diet of noxious insects to procure their toxins, the corroboree frog produces its own lethal brew. By standing out with bright colorations, the corroboree frog attempts to ward off potential predators. Not unaccustomed to taking on venomous prey, this is a fight the kestrel can't hope to win. If she ignores the vivid warning and swoops, she may well kill the frog. But it would surely prove a costly meal, one for which she would pay the ultimate price. Luckily for both, it seems the message is received loud and clear. The kestrel moves off in search of a softer target. Averaging a modest 2.5 centimeters in length, the critically endangered southern corroboree frog wields a virulent deterrent to would-be predators. But there are other tiny toxic terrors present down under, and some of these are by no means lacking in number. High in the rainforest canopy of Australia's tropical northeast, serious construction work is underway. Bustling with activity, green tree ants are busy building themselves a new outpost. Expanding their colony into a new frontier, worker ants use larval silk to weave foliage together to form their signature-shaped nests. It's easy to see why they're otherwise known as weaver ants. Larger in size, the soldiers of the species are tasked with providing food for the working masses. Unafraid to take on prey much larger than themselves, the soldiers work as a team to overcome their toughest missions. These soldiers are also burdened with an equally important job: defense. Their new construction has encroached on the territory of another, much larger ant species. A trapjaw ant investigates the incursion. A lone sentinel, it aggressively defends its borders. Its powerful mandibles are the fastest-moving predatory appendage in the animal kingdom. With a peak force of over 300 times the ant's own body weight, they are powerful weapons. In defense, the green tree ant releases formic acid from specialized abdominal glands, which quickly neutralizes the threat. Alerting the colony, the wounded soldier ant now releases a powerful pheromone into the air. Receiving the call to arms, frenzied soldiers go on the attack. To avoid being drawn into the fray, nearby jack jumper ants opt to flee the scene, using their powerful hind limbs to launch themselves to safety. But the rampaging green tree ants soon descend to the jack jumper's nest below. And an all-out ant war begins. Driven by hormones, this frenzied attack may ultimately prove unwise. Armed with venomous stingers, jack jumpers are considered one of the most dangerous of all ant species. Capable of causing anaphylactic shock and death in humans, jack jumper venom is highly toxic. Despite their size, they are considered to be among the more dangerous animals in Australia. And as reinforcements surge from beneath the ground, they quickly overwhelm their attackers, reasserting dominance over their territory. While chemical weapons help to determine the balance of power within these steamy highlands, they are not the only predatory strategies at work here. Related to the black widow of North America, the redback is one of Australia's most notorious and indeed venomous spiders. Its bite is potentially lethal to humans. The iconic red stripe that runs along the female's back is a telltale sign of her toxicity. Decidedly larger and more venomous, the female of the species remains in the same location for the majority of her adult life. Her fine, strong tangle of silk is strategically laid out to ensnare prey. Incredibly, even small snakes are known to have met a grim fate in the redback's deadly web. More commonly, insects, mice, and small lizards make up the bulk of her diet. She waits motionless for the signs of entanglement, keenly attuned to any movement on her trap lines. Even the slightest vibrations alert her to the presence of potential prey. Undeterred by size, even the largest of huntsman spiders become fair game to a confident redback. She entombs her prey with sticky silk before repeatedly sinking her hollow, venom-filled fangs into the sticky mass. Fast-acting digestive elements contained within the venom begin to break down the corpse, allowing her to drink the liquefied remains. She's an impressive killer and a protective mother. Her eggs and recently hatched offspring are kept safe within the inner strands of her web. Her deadly fangs are fierce deterrents to any would-be assassin. But there is a weapon in the animal kingdom that trumps even the deadliest of venoms: well-developed intelligence. Despite its relatively small brain, the Portia spider is thought to be the world's most intelligent spider. Capable of complex problem-solving, this minute arachnid relies on an entirely different predatory strategy. Discovering the treasure trove of spiderlings within the redback's lair, this mastermind goes to work. He probes the web for weakness. Equipped with multiple forward-facing eyes, his keen vision gauges the deadly redback's reactions. In doing so, he creates a mental map of her movements, testing one pathway after another before making his move. It's risky business. Detection would surely prove fatal. His deliberate swaying movement mimics a gentle breeze blowing across the web. He creeps ever closer to a potential meal or certain death. Ultimately, his high-risk strategy pays off. Oblivious to his intimate proximity, the deadly female redback sits idly by as the industrious Portia spider feasts on her offspring. In this strategic battle between wits and weaponry, a sharp intellect prevails over sharp fangs. The Australian highlands are home to some of the continent's fiercest beasts. Evolving in splendid isolation, these mountain monsters take on terrifying forms of all shapes and sizes. Although diverse in nature, they share one common trait. Manifest in each and every one is the capacity to kill. Because in a realm dominated by monsters, predator and prey alike must kill to survive.